do Shamans pair with best in arenas? Well, for 2v2s, you have fewer options than 3s and 5s. However, you still can find success. For healers, you can pair pretty much with a Disc Priest or a Holy Valley. I think the Disc Priest version is a bit better, especially at the end of Wrath, as it'll help you finish off kills. And the offensive nature of Mass Dispel can maybe finish classes that normally would be able to live, like a full Ice Block or a Pally. All of a sudden they MD, you Flame Shock, Lava Burst, T-Storm, and they're dead. The Holy Pally version, I don't think is nearly as good. However, I haven't played Shaman at the beginning of Wrath in a long time, and on a seasonal ladder, I have noticed that there's a possible 1 or 2 Holy Pally Eles near the top. I don't know if they're just swapping specs, or maybe they're cheating, or win trading, or something like that, but that could be good at the beginning of Wrath. I don't know, I have to wait and see. And then for DPS pairings, you can run with a Destrolock or a Shadow Priest. The Destrolock has far better burst, and you'll do much better on Blade's Edge and Sewers, because you can really abuse that Z access with T-Storm. And then the Shadow Priest ends up being another healer as well as a Dispeller. So unless he's getting CC'd and you're dying, or maybe he's getting silenced and then you're getting CC'd, that's really the only way that that team can lose, as their damage is very high. The Ele has the high burst, and then they both are just hitting each other the whole time. So that comp can do pretty well, but I think it's better at early Wrath than later, because then at the end of Wrath, damage is so high, they can't really heal through certain things like warriors in particular. And then what about for 3v3s? Well, this is where Ele really shines. They can basically dominate this bracket with a ton of different comps, but mainly their partner in crime, the Destrolock. They can also play Affliction though, but the Destrolock burst combined with the Ele, basically the Ele just has to go Flame Shock and then cast a Lava Burst. And then the Lock has to have a curse up and then immolate, and then they can go Chaos Bolt plus Chain Lightning, and then the Destro basically goes Chaos Bolt, Conflag, Shadowburn, and things are dying. I mean, it's really that simple, that easy, and you do it at ranged pretty quickly because they're both stacking haste, maybe even got Lust up. So they can pair with a lot of different healers. They can actually pair with all 4 healers. But by far and away the best is going to be the Holy Pally and the Resto Druid. The Resto Druid variant will be better earlier. The Holy Pally variant will be better later, but they're both good the whole time regardless. Now, you're going to also run with the Disc Priest. This one's pretty decent as well if you're running into a lot of mage teams or Pallies. This one can be better, but it can struggle with the Disc Priest surviving. Versus with the way the comp synergizes, the Druid and the Holy Pally seem to live much better than with the other ones. The Resto Shaman can work too, but you lose the defensive Dispel, but then you have double Wind Shear, double Totems. It's very strong, and then you also have a ton of Purging as well, but I think the Disc Priest variant's a little better than that. And we have Thundercleave. This comp is extremely powerful, especially at the end of Wrath. It basically takes the best healer, the best caster, and the best melee in the game and just slaps them together. You typically will be trained as the Shaman in this setup, so you will want to run a very high resil build. Basically, your playstyle is going to be a lot of Totems, Wind Shears, and Purging, and then you're going to be Flame Shock, Lava Bursting, in some sort of setup. And this comp is very tanky as well, because you essentially have 2 healers, and the Shaman can help keep the Pally out of his CC with his Groundings and Tremors, and then sometimes go to off healing when the Pally's CC'd, or just pressure so high, then you actually have 2 people healing. The Warrior will rarely be able to die with Shield Wall, Intervene, Reflect, is Enrage or Gen, and then the Pally is just extremely tanky in general. So this comp pretty much has everything. It just doesn't have a double Dispel, but Shamans work in a way like a double Dispel, so watch out for this one. And here's just a bunch of honorable mentions. A bunch of these actually are decent, but not as good as the earlier ones I mentioned. So you can run Volcano Cleave, that's basically Ele with a Frost Mage. They can also play Fire, but the Frost variant's a lot better as the Shaman needs the roots, as well as the Deep Freeze is very strong because Shamans don't have any stun, and then that allows you to go like Polymorph or Hex with a deep blanket and then into a Wind Shear. Very strong. Then you also have Marksman Hunter, which is okay, but typically paired with a Disc Priest or a Holy Pally. This one has MS as well as good on-demand burst. You get nice CC, and then Sound Shot plus Wind Shear constantly can be really annoying for the other healer. And then Roar of Sack, T-Storm, it works decent, but I haven't seen it be amazing. And then you also have the pairing with the Death Knight. You can basically pair it also with a Disc or a Holy Pally. I think the Holy Pally variant's a little stronger, but this one's got great damage on paper. It's amazing. However, in my experience of playing against it, I don't think it really is. Essentially, you just have insane damage with the DK. He can kind of help peel the Shaman, and then with Freedom, the Shaman can kind of Ghost Wolf Kite through Desecrations, and nothing can really catch him. It's similar to how the Shadow Priest plays with the DK So that's also another good comp. Then you can also run with a Shadow Priest. This is basically like LSP, except you have double defensive spell with a really good Priestess spell, as well as quad offensive dispel and mass dispel. And you're essentially playing 3 healers. You have Shadow Priest, Palm. I mean, his healing's insane, and then Holy Pies is insane, and then the Ellie's is decent with knockoff. So this is basically a triple healer comp. It sometimes can't get enough pressure going because they'll be training the Shadow Priest typically, and then you just can't get enough bursts going, and then one of the casters is probably dying. And then that is it for 3v3s. I will also put a tier list so that way you can see just where everything stacks. There might be some left out. Like I said, there are just a ton of good comps for Ele in general.